Hi, everyone, and good morning. We are so glad to have you here online with us today. So I'm here with Victor Esquino. He is one of our project leaders at Beck Technology, and he's on here with me today just to talk about some of the features that are going to be in this upcoming release of DESTINI Estimator. It's a little bit of a sneak peek. I want to encourage everyone online, please ask questions as they arise. We may not be able to get to them during the webinar, but we will definitely follow up once it's over and get those answers to you. Without further ado, Victor, I am gonna hand it over to you.
Hey, thanks, Melissa. It's great to be here. I do want to share a sneak preview into what we've been working on for this release. So our biggest feature, our first one we're going to go over today is the disconnected workflow. We've had numerous requests from our clients for the ability to work on their estimates when they aren't in the office, or sometimes where they're just in a location where they have sporadic or spotty internet. Some examples being like while they're traveling on a train, a rideshare like an Uber or Lyft, just on a plane. Some of them are remote locations like a vacation spot or a job trailer on a remote project. And we've even had some that say, hey, I want to work out in a deer blind while I'm just waiting for a deer to go by. So any place that has sporadic internet. So from the user's perspective, they just need the ability to check out an estimate, work on it off when they're out of the office, take it anywhere they want, come back at a later time and date, check it back in and sync it up to sync up their changes to the remote server with any other changes some other users on that same estimate might have had. So let me kind of bring up Estimator here so I can show y'all some of these new features. So you have a couple different ways to check out an estimate now. It's just within the recent screen and the ellipsis in the top right. You now have this ability to check out an estimate, and then also if you have an estimate open, so we'll just open up this unit cost estimate, and from that you have an option or a new button inside Estimator up in the on the Home tab that is called Checkout Estimate. And what this is going to allow you to do is check out an estimate in its current state. The estimate's going to be copied locally to your computer. You're going to be able to interact with it, modify it, work with it as you normally would. You can add line items, delete line items, make any modifications to quantities, units, costs, anything. So here on this Home tab, you also have this Checkout Estimate button. So when you click on that, what it's going to do is, like I said, it's going to check, make a copy of that locally on your machine, and then you can just kind of interact with it like you normally would. So yeah, that's the biggest thing. I know disconnected workflow is going to be a little hard to demo for you guys because I mean I have internet connection, but I did check out an estimate offline earlier, been working with it. So I'm going to open that up. And online, someone else has been making modifications to it. They've been working on it. So right now, it just has my changes. So I've been working on this. I went on vacation, did my thing, and I'm ready to check this in now. So what it's going to do is when I click this check-in estimate button, it's going to check it into the remote server, basically back at the office. Any changes anyone else made while I was offline are going to be merged in, and my changes will be merged in with theirs, and then we'll have this, it'll open up the consolidated estimate here. So we'll just give this a moment to check in. And then once it's done, we should see any other changes someone else or anyone else made while they were offline. This is a good feature, a new feature that it's going to allow people to just kind of work remotely, work on their section. So we've had some scenarios where people want to work on different divisions and then check those in whenever they're done. So they'll be able to work on their estimate offline, do their changes, travel back and forth from the office or from remote locations, and then when they're ready, they can check it in. So I've successfully checked in my estimate, and now as you can see, it was merged in with the other estimator, in this case Beck Tech's changes. So that's that's the disconnected workflow in a nutshell. It's very similar to our team estimating, but now it allows you to kind of check it out, and work with it offline. So let me close this out here. So another feature that I want to share with you guys is around the unit cost column. Previously, when you had the overline quantities for unit cost columns, it would just sum up all the unit costs in that grouping. And what we found out is this isn't how estimators think of the cost or how they communicate cost via reporting or deliverables. So now what we actually display is more of an actual cost per unit. When it's grouped, it uses the aggregate cost for that grouping divided by the quantity and for that unit of measure, and then you can adjust the unit of measure since you can have multiple units for a grouping. So let me add the overline quantities here. So for the unit cost column, I'm going to sum these up. So previously what it used to do, the unit cost would just sum all these up and display that. But now it's actually allows you to change the unit of measure. So in this case, we only have one each. So the aggregate cost of this is the 1,744.25 cents. You can change this to square foot, and then it'll be based off of the quantity of 7 and the unit of measure of square feet. So that's that feature. Close this out. And lastly, the last feature I want to show you guys today is around assemblies and questions. We already have the ability to add choices as answers to questions in assemblies. This didn't help out all of our users, as some of the assemblies that they had were already created prior to our implementation of choices. So prior to choices, what you would have to do is you would create a variable and assign a value to each of those choices. So let me give you an example here. So you would have to create a variable, assign a value to it. So for example, in this one, 1 equals basic, 2 equals moderate, 3 equals high. And then you would have this tooltip that would pop up and tell you which each numerical value represented. So in this case, if I wanted moderate, I would select the 2 and enter that in. We felt we can improve that for our clients with little to no effort on their side or no changes to their database, because that could be expensive and tedious to go and update your whole database. So now the option, without any changes to their database, their cost database, sorry. The variables in the drop-down display are now listed just as if they were choices, or all without using choices. Now they're displaying as options instead of their numeric values of the tooltip. This just makes it cleaner and easier to interact with. We feel that this is a better user workflow than having to pull up that tooltip, look at what those values are, and select an option. Now you can just kind of quickly go through these and select what you need. So that's just a glimpse to some of the new features that we have coming out with this latest release. I do appreciate you guys spending time with us this morning. Melissa, did you have anything else you wanted to add on this?
Sure, Victor, I just want to say thank you again for giving us a glimpse into those features. I think those are some pretty exciting developments. I do have a few questions here that I want to touch on before we wrap up. So the first question that I have here is, so in developing these features, have any of our current clients been able to get their hands on these features? And if they have, can you share some of the feedback that you've heard?
Sure. We've actually just started getting this into our clients' hands this week. We have done a lot of demos displaying this and getting feedback from our clients. So for the disconnected workflow, we met with some of our clients, showed it to them a little bit more in depth than this, kind of went into the behind the scenes and how things worked, got their feedback and kind of adjusted from that. We're hoping to get some more feedback from our clients now that they have it in their hands, but overall the reception's been very positive that we've gotten so far.
That's awesome. That is really good to hear. For the next question, were any of these features specifically requested by our clients? And could you maybe touch a little bit on how we incorporate that feedback into development?
Sure. Actually, all these features that I showed you today were from client feedback, suggestions from them. So as far as how we incorporate that feedback, we first want to try to understand what that problem is. Get a good understanding of the issue, make sure we're actually addressing the actual problem and not something a little bit superficial. So we work with multiple clients. We get some sort of a storyboard going. We do, like we did the demos over the disconnected workflow, do like a show and tell, then we put it in the client's hands, get some hands-on feedback, and then we tweak it from there. So if there's something they want to change or something that they think would work a little bit more effective, we take that and kind of work with it. So ultimately, what we're trying to create is the right product for our users and the industry as a whole.
That's amazing. I think that's really good to hear that you guys are actively listening to that feedback and responding to it. I think that's amazing. And then lastly, Victor, is there just anything else that you would like to share with our audience before we sign off?
I'm just excited to get this out in our clients' hands. We've spent a lot of time on the stability and the performance of this product. So I just can't wait to get it into their hands so that we can see the benefits and make sure that they benefit from it, from using the application. Sorry.
No, you're good. I could not agree more with
I'm
that.
excited. We've been working on this for quite some time. So we're definitely excited to get this in their hands and outside of ours so that we can get more feedback, get it to the masses.
Yeah, absolutely, Victor. I could not agree more with that. I think that these are some pretty groundbreaking things that we're seeing here. And like you said, I just cannot wait to see how it's going to start shaping the industry and just continuing to impact people in pre-construction. So to everyone who was on with us today, I just want to say thank you so much. Really appreciate y'all taking the time out of your day to come join us and listen to this. Just want to let y'all know that even if you weren't able to come to this, you will be receiving, anyone who registered will be receiving a recording of this. You'll be able to watch it again at your leisure. And keep an eye out for an invite to our next webinar coming up in August. We're going to be excited to see you there, and I hope everyone has a great week. Thank you.